Dear students, welcome now to the next video, which is on your second poem in your course, and that is Ozymandias. Ozymandias is a poem which is written by P.B. Shelley, and you should know the name of the poem and the name of the poet also. So I'm repeating again, Ozymandias. Then the poet is P.B. Shelley. Now, P.B. Shelley, he was a romantic poet who existed during the Romantic Age in English literature. That is 18th to early 19th century. And he was a very promising poet and died very young. In a drowning accident, his boat drowned, and unfortunately he died at a very young age. So P.B. Shelley, the poet who belongs to the Romantic Age, and you should look at this picture before we start the summary or critical analysis of the poem. Just look at this image. What you see here is, two huge legs of stone, and you can also see near them there is a face of this. It looks like a statue, broken statue, and here you can see in this image, in this picture, another. There is someone who is watching all this. Okay, so I hope you have captured this picture in your mind. अपने दिमाग में अपने इस image को आप ध्यान से देख लीजिए. You see, it appears a broken statue of someone, and it's not very small. It's a very huge statue, and wow, that you come to know by comparing the image of this man who is observing the statue, and so the statue is very large, huge, and this appears to be the face of the statue, and this is the image you should remember. Okay, so let's start with the poem. So again, Ozymandias, written by P.B. Shelley. Okay. Now let me take a pointer color. Let's take blue. Okay. Start from here. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in a desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions writ, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the hurt that fed." So these are the first this is the first stanza, and you can count the lines. There are 8 lines in this stanza. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8. So let's start. I'll tell you about the structure of this poem later. Just start at I met a traveler. Now here I is the first person. So someone telling you that I met a traveler, that means the poet or the writer or someone who is narrating this, जो ये बता रहा है कि I met a traveler, मतलब I, he is talking about himself. Met, मुझे मिला, कौन मिला? एक ट्रैवलर मिला. ट्रेवलर, ट्रेवलर यू नो, या जो द पर्सन हु ट्रेवल्स उसको ट्रेवलर बोलते हैं। कहाँ से आया था वो? फ्रॉम एन एंटीक लैंड। You can see here verb, this is the use of an article. ओके तो आर्टिकल्स भी आपको आएंगे, मैंने अलग से वीडियो डाला, आर्टिकल्स आप देख सकते हैं वहाँ पे। एंड किसके साथ लगता है, ए किसके साथ लगता है। सो जब भी आप वेन एवर यू आर रीडिंग यू नो गो थ्रू ऑल दिस, ये ऑटोमेटिकली आपके दिमाग में आना चाहिए। सो आई मेट अ ट्रैवलर फ्रॉम एन एंटीक लैंड। तो ये कह रहा है कि मुझे एक यात्री मिला। कहाँ से आया? वो आया था एंटीक लैंड। एंटीक का मतलब होता है वेरी एंशियंट लैंड, बहुत दूर से आया था, बहुत पुरानी जगह, राइट। द फर्स्ट लाइन इज क्लियर। ओके, किसको मिला, कौन मिला? एक ट्रेवलर मिला। किसको मिला? जो लिखने वाला उसको मिला, पोइट को मिला। कहाँ से था वो? ही वॉज फ्रॉम एन एंटीक लैंड। कौन था एंटीक लैंड से? पोएट नहीं, ट्रेवलर। वो ट्रेवलर जो था। हु सेड, हु का मतलब यहाँ पे जनरली आप समझते हो कि हु का मतलब कौन होता है, लेकिन यहाँ कौन नहीं, इसका मतलब ये इसी के बारे में कंटिन्यूड है। ये जो ट्रेवलर है इसी को आगे कह रहा है कि हु सेड मतलब जिसने कहा। किसने कहा नहीं, जिसने कहा। जिसने कहा, क्या कहा? दिस इज इन्वर्टेड कॉमास में, ये इसकी स्पीच है। अब किसकी? ट्रेवलर की। ट्रेवलर इसको कह रहा है कि टू वास्ट एंड ट्रंकलेस लेग्स ऑफ स्टोन। दो, टू का मतलब दो, वास्ट का मतलब होता है लार्ज, ह्यूज, जाइगेंटिक, बहुत बड़ी, बहुत बड़ी बड़ी। क्या है? टू वास्ट एंड ट्रंकलेस, दो चीज़ें यहाँ इकट्ठी हैं कि वास्ट भी है, बहुत बड़ी, विशाल, ह्यूज, जाइगेंटिक, एंड ट्रंकलेस। और ट्रंकलेस मतलब ट्रंक होती है द पार्ट ऑफ योर बॉडी अबव योर वेस्ट। ओके, सो मतलब उसके ऊपर, वेस्ट के ऊपर का पार्ट नहीं है, ट्रंकलेस, धड़ की नहीं है। ओके, देन लेग्स ऑफ स्टोन, लेकिन टांगे हैं, लेकिन किसकी हैं? स्टोन की। स्टोन, अब खुद सोचिए, अब स्टोन की लेग्स कहाँ होती हैं? स्टोन की लेग्स तभी होती हैं जब कोई बनाता है, और जब कोई बनाता है स्टोन का तो क्या बनता है? दैट मीन्स इट इज अ स्टैच्यू। ऐसा नहीं है कि इंसान कभी पत्थर बन गया और वहाँ खड़ा हो गया, नो। सो दैट मीन्स ट्रंकलेस लेग्स ऑफ स्टोन। ट्रंकलेस लेग्स ऑफ स्टोन मीन्स द ब्रोकन स्टैच्यू। स्टैच्यू, STATUE, स्टैच्यू। जैसे आप स्टैच्यू गेम खेलते हैं, ठीक है, तो ये एक बहुत बड़ी बड़ी और ट्रंकलेस मीन्स विदाउट द अपर पार्ट ऑफ द बॉडी, जो बड़ी बड़ी टांगे हैं वो कहाँ पे हैं? स्टैंड इन द डेजर्ट, खड़ी हैं कहाँ पर? डेजर्ट में। डेजर्ट, यू नो, डेजर्ट इज समथिंग वेयर यू फाइंड लॉट ऑफ सैंड एंड सैंड एंड सैंड। ओके, सो डेजर्ट के अंदर ये उसको दिखा। क्या दिखा? फर्स्ट थिंग, टू वास्ट एंड ट्रंकलेस लेग्स ऑफ स्टोन। दैट मीन्स अ ब्रोकन स्टैच्यू, हाफ ब्रोकन स्टैच्यू, हाफ ब्रोकन स्टैच्यू। ओके, विच इज वेरी ह्यूज, राइट। कहाँ दिखा? डेजर्ट में मिल। नियर देम, किसके नज़दीक? उस टांगों के नज़दीक, जो लेग्स ऑफ स्टोन, दैट मीन्स ब्रोकन स्टैच्यू। उसके पास में क्या है? ऑन द सैंड। कहाँ पे? वेयर? सैंड के ऊपर। नियर देम, उनके पास, ऑन द सैंड, सैंड के ऊपर। हाफ संक अ शटर्ड विजज लाइज। हाफ संक, हाफ मतलब आधा, सिंक, सैंक, संक। सिंक का मतलब होता है डूबना, सिंक का थर्ड फॉर्म संक है, मतलब आधा डूबा हुआ। अब डूबता तो वैसे पानी में है, बट यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड that it was buried, half buried, half buried समझ सकते हैं आप, आधा दबा हुआ रेत में, half buried, half sunk means half buried। क्या था? a shattered visage। shattered होता है जिसके अंदर क्रैक्स आ जाते हैं, जैसे कोई चीज़ जब टूट जाती है तो आप बोलते हैं shattered, something which you know breaks into pieces। so there are lines of you know ब्रेकेज। तो आधा धसा हुआ, कहाँ धसा हुआ है? रेत के अंदर। एक शटर्ड वेजेस, विजज, विजज का मतलब होता है चेहरा, विजज, यू रीड इट विजज, ओके, विजज, विजज मतलब जैसा मेरा चेहरा तुम्हारा चेहरा, तो ऐसे ही विजज। तो एक आधा रेत के अंदर खंडित टुकड़ा हुआ एक चेहरा जो है वो पड़ा हुआ है, राइट। अब ये चेहरा किसका पड़ा हुआ? इट्स नॉट दैट मीन्स द स्टैच्यू, the head of that statue or the face of that statue is lying half buried in the sand. Okay, so I think these lines are clear to you. आपने एक साथ चलना है लॉजिकली शुरू से। मुझे मिला, कौन मिला? ट्रेवलर मिला। तो कहाँ से आया था? वो एंटीक लैंड आया था। एंटीक का मतलब एंशिएंट लैंड। ओके, उस क्या कहा उसने? उसने कहा कि he had seen two vast and trunkless legs of stone. That means he had seen a broken statue which was there in the desert, and what was left in the statue was that these legs were standing still there, but its upper part of the body was not, right. And what else he saw is he saw a face, the face of the broken statue, which was lying half buried in the sand. वो आधा कहाँ था दसा हुआ? It was lying buried in the sand. Okay, this is clear now. Whose frown? अब इसी को डिस्क्राइब, किसको डिस्क्राइब कर रहा है? इज नॉट डिस्क्राइबिंग द लेग्स नाउ, इज डिस्क्राइबिंग द विजज। विजज मीन्स द फेस। और कहता है कि उसी चेहरे के ऊपर क्या दिख रहा था उसको? whose frown? Frown is angry look on the face. Frown, these are expressions of the face. When you get angry with someone, then that expression which comes on your face is called frown. Frown, okay. Whose frown and wrinkled lip? Wrinkled lip, wow. So whenever you are very angry, what happens is your lips also gets wrinkled when you are commanding someone. जब आप किसी को गुस्से से बात करें तो आपके चेहरे पे एक फ्राउन आती है, गुस्से भरी एक expression आती है, that is called frown and wrinkled lip, and your lips also they are twisted a little, that is called wrinkled lip. Wrinkled lip का मतलब ये नहीं कि वो बूढ़ा, गुस्से से जब वो expression आती, it is an expression of anger. And sneer of cold command. Sneer again is not a very healthy or very friendly look. Sneer is a kind of look which comes on your face when you hate someone. Okay, so yeah, that may be called as an expression of extreme pride. जब बहुत घमंडी आदमी होता है उसके चेहरे को, so that is called sneer of cold command. Cold command means order which is not very gentle. Okay, so now you must understand these two lines very clearly. He is talking about the shattered visage. Shattered visage means the broken face of the statue, which is lying half buried in the sand, and on that statue you can see those looks of anger, frown, wrinkled lip. So these all show that the person, he was very proud, or maybe he was very angry, or he was full of hatred, and he was a person who did not have common emotions or passions in his heart. He was very cruel, those cruel look, that is sneer of cold command. Okay, tell that sculptor well those passions read. Now this impression is this expression is over now. He talked about the face, how there are there is an expression of anger and hatred, or there is an expression of pride on the face, on that face. Which face? The face of the statue, which is lying broken, half buried in the sand. उस टूटे हुए जो उसका जो चेहरा है उसके ऊपर उस चेहरे के ऊपर आपको ये एक्सप्रेशन अभी भी दिख रही है, गुस्से की, घमंड की और क्रुएलिटी की, निर्दयता की, राइट? Tell that it's sculptor. Sculptor is someone who makes sculptures. जो इंसान किसी का बुत बनाता है, स्कल्पचर, उसको बोलते हैं स्कल्पटर, CULPTOR, sculptor. I will show you in the next images. So tell that it's sculptor. Sculptor मूर्तिकार, मतलब जिस इंसान ने वो स्टेच्यू बनाया था उसको बोला गया स्कल्पटर. ओके, तो कहता है कि ये जो सारी एक्सप्रेशंस हैं उस चेहरे पे अब दिखती हैं, तो इससे क्या पता चलता है? टेल दैट इट्स स्कल्पटर. वो कहती हैं, वो बताती हैं कि इसको बनाने वाले ने, स्कल्पटर इज द पर्सन हु हैज मेड दिस स्टेच्यू. वेल दोज पैशंस रेड, उसने बड़े अच्छे तरीके से इन भावनाओं को पढ़ा था. पैशंस, राइट? ओके. विच येट सर्वाइव, जो अभी तक जिंदा है. क्या जिंदा है? व्हाट इज सर्वाइव का मतलब? विच आर अलाइव टिल नाउ. तो अभी क्या जिंदा है? वो स्टैच्यू तो है नहीं, स्टैच्यू तो जिंदा नहीं है, वो तो डेड थिंग है. और दूसरा जो जिसका था वो भी डेड है बहुत सालों पहले. तो क्या बचा हुआ है अभी भी जो सर्वाइव कर रहा है? व्हाट इज सर्वाइव? इज stamped on these lifeless things. जो those passions which he is talking about, wrinkled lip, sneer of cold command, frown, now they can still be seen as lively as they were on the face of this statue. कहते हैं कि वो अभी तक जिंदा है. which yet survive, जो अभी तक जिंदा है. कौन जिंदा है? these expressions, ये किसकी एक्सप्रेशन है? ये इसके पैशंस हैं. किसके पैशंस हैं? जिसका ये स्टैच्यू स्टैम्प्ड ऑन दीज. और जो अभी भी स्टैम्प मतलब चिन्हित, विच आर मार्क्ड, जो मार्क्ड हैं ऑन दीज लाइफलेस थिंग्स. लाइफलेस थिंग्स मीन्स द स्टोन. किसके ऊपर मार्क्ड हैं ये सारी इमोशंस और पैशंस? ये उस पत्थर के ऊपर है. तो इसलिए व्हाट डज लाइफलेस थिंग्स मीन्स? लाइफलेस थिंग का मतलब है द स्टोन, जिसके ऊपर वो सारी इमोशंस, जो पैशंस हैं, वो बिल्कुल वैसी की वैसी दिख रही है. द हैंड दैट मॉक्ड देम एंड द हार्ट दैट फेड. These two lines are this line is very important. The hand that mocked them. The hand मतलब वो हाथ that mocked them, जिसने क्या किया? उनकी नकल उतारी. Mock means to copy. Okay, to mock means to copy, right? तो the hand that mocked them, तो जिस हाथ ने उनकी नकल उतारी. किनकी नकल उतारी? of those emotions or those passions. कौन से passions? These passions of anger, hatred and cruelty. ये passions थे. और इनकी नकल किसने उतारी? उस स्कल्पटर ने उतारी. And the heart that fed. And he could feel those emotions from his own heart. So whose hand was that which mocked them? The hand of the sculptor. And the heart that fed. And how he copied them onto the stone. So this is the first stanza, which is of 8 lines. 8 lines को हम बोलते हैं octave. 8 lines. Okay, so जब हम analysis पढ़ेंगे, structural analysis, then it will be of help. Okay, so the first stanza is clear to you. In this stanza, the poet tells us that he had met with the traveler. वो कहाँ से आया था? ये came from an ancient land, antique land. उसने क्या कहा? He said that he had seen something. उसने कुछ देखा है desert में. क्या देखा है? 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone. बहुत बड़ी. Vast means huge, gigantic, very large. Trunkless means the upper body is not there. Upper body means above the waist. वो है नहीं, सिर्फ टांगे हैं, बहुत बड़ी. कहाँ पे है? In a desert, एक रेगिस्तान. Near them, उनके पास में. On the sand, रेत के ऊपर. क्या है? उसने और एक चीज देखी. Half sunk a shattered visage lies. Half sunk means आधा, half buried in the sand. Okay, a shattered visage, a broken face lies. और उस फेस के ऊपर क्या है? उस फेस के ऊपर there are expressions of anger, hatred, and cruelty. So that is frown, wrinkled lip, and sneer of cold command. That means those passions, these passions of cruelty, hatred, and arrogance or pride, they can still be seen on that face. कहता है कि और तो कुछ बचा नहीं. जैसे आपने ऐड सुनी होगी, एक वो डीओ की ऐड आती है ना, उसमें वो हीरो खड़ा होता है, तूफान आता है और वो बेचारा खंबे से लटक के अपनी जान बचाता है, उसका कपड़ा भी उड़ जाता है, तो वो कहती है हीरोइन के बाकी सब तो उड़ गया लेकिन आपका परफ्यूम अभी भी बाकी. So likewise, here also you see that statue is broken. It may have been erected thousands of years back, but what is remaining is that you can see those emotions or those passions, they can still be seen on the face of that broken statue, right? So he is complimenting that sculptor. Sculptor होता है the person who made that statue, कि कितनी अच्छी तरह से उसने उसकी इमोशंस को पढ़ा. किसकी इमोशंस को? जिसका ये स्टैच्यू है. स्कल्प्टर ने अपना तो नहीं बनाया, किसी और का ही बनाया. तो दैट इज़ व्हाट इज़ मेंट बाय वेल दोज पैशंस रेड, कि उसने उसकी भावनाओं को बहुत अच्छी तरह से पढ़ा. विच येट सर्वाइव, जो अभी भी जिंदा हैं, और स्टैम्प्ड ऑन दीज लाइफलेस थिंग्स. इन लाइफलेस थिंग्स मीन्स ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट द स्टोन, जिसके ऊपर ये these emotions, these passions can clearly be seen even today. The hand that mocked them, so whose hand was that? That was the hand of the sculptor. उसी ने उनकी नकल उतारी. Sculptor का काम क्या होता है? वो he copies or he mocks the real human or real thing, and he carves it out on the stone, and the hurt that fed, and how his hurt could feel those emotions. So this is, we are now anticipating something. Now there is an anticipation, or there is an eagerness in our mind that who could it be? ये कौन हो सकता है? किसका statue? Such a huge statue, and such emotions or such passions of cruelty, hatred, and arrogance. So there is a sense of anticipation in us. Now let us find the answer. So this is, these are the impressions. Before we get the answer, these are the impressions, which are still, seen on the face of this statue. You can see the face. Look at the face, and here is the sculptor, and maybe the king. So the sculptor, it is the hand of the sculptor, the hand that mocked and the hurt that fed. So though the poet is talking about the hand of the sculptor, that how he could, or how wonderfully he could copy or mock those emotions which he felt in his heart. These are the expressions of frown. You can see frown is when you hate someone, or it's a very contemptuous look, very hateful or arrogant kind of look. And this is wrinkled lip when you are angry, or when you are shouting at someone, when you are ordering someone. So then you have this kind of expressions. And cold command means emotionless or hurtless feelings. So that is what the poet is talking about. He's talking about the impression, or the emotions or the passions which were there in the heart of the king, which the sculptor had copied onto this stone, or marked on this stone with the great artistry, right? So now comes the answer. So first 8 lines pose a problem. They tell us something about a situation where a traveler had seen something in a desert, and now we get the answer in these last 6 lines. This is the second stanza. This is line number 1-6. So you remember that there are 6 lines in this stanza. So, and on the pedestal these words appear. Now we get the answer. Whose statue is it? And on the pedestal, Pedestal is the platform kind of thing which is built before you put a statue or before you fix a statue on this. Okay, where you get a brief description about the person, right? जैसे आपने कहीं देखा होगा, जब भी स्टैच्यू लगाया जाता है उसके नीचे एक पेडेस्टल बनाया जाता है जिसके ऊपर यू टेल अबाउट दैट पर्सन्स लाइफ हिस्ट्री के बारे में ब्रीफ होता है. ओके, सो ऑन द पेडेस्टल दीज वर्ड्स अपीयर. ओके, ये शब्द लिखे थे उस पर, माई नेम इज ओज़ीमैंडियस, किंग ऑफ किंग्स. Look on my works, ye mighty and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. So now here we get the answer. The answer is that this is the statue of King Ozymandias. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. That means I am the super king. I am जैसे राजाओं का महाराजा. That means I have defeated so many kings and I remain the the most powerful king here. Look on my works. And he is boasting. He is very proud of his achievements. Look on my works. कहता है कि मेरे काम को देखो. Look on my works. Look at my achievements. ये mighty and despair. इतनी महान, इतनी ताकतवर, इतनी शक्तिशाली. कहने का मतलब and despair. And despair का मतलब despair होता है to become hopeless. Okay, निराश हो जाना. Despair. तो किसको कह रहा है? He is challenging everyone around. वो कहता है कि देखो मेरी achievements को. Look on my works. इतने महान, इतने विशाल, और क्या करो, तुम सिर्फ निराश हो सकते. That means you cannot equal my achievements, right? And despair. Despair means you cannot equal my achievements, so you have to be you cannot equal my achievements, so that is why you have to feel low. Okay, nothing beside remains. Now these were the words when written, then maybe the king might have been the most powerful king in that particular region, right? But the reality is now at present nothing beside remains. That means there is nothing around. Okay, he is talking about his great achievement. He says that look at them, but the reality now is that there is nothing around. Nothing beside remains. Nothing is remaining now. Round the decay. Round means around. उसके चारों ओर. The decay. Decay means the demolished, or you can say the broken statue, the huge statue of that colossal. Colossal means very large, huge. Wreck means वो जो you can call it kind of a broken statue that is huge, and around the broken statue, huge broken statue, boundless and bare. Boundless means without any boundary, and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away, and there is nothing else. Bare means there is nothing else. What is there? The lone and level sands stretch far. There is only sand and the level fields, or the level sand, or there is nothing. No sign of his achievements, no palaces, no forts, no fortresses. That means there is nothing around. The things which he was boasting of, the achievements which he was very proud of, they have been washed away by the decaying effect of time. So there is nothing around. There is only sand and sand. Wherever your eyes can go, there is only sand. Okay, so this is the entire poem, which is divided into two stanzas. As I told you, first stanza is that of 8 lines, in which we are told something. In the next 6 lines, that is called a sestet. We will talk about it when we discuss the summary, right? So this is the pedestal. Uh, okay, here is the pedestal on which these lines appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look at my works, ye mighty and despair. So maybe the king may have been very powerful or very famous or very rich during his prime, during his life, and he might have built huge palaces with all luxuries. There may be large forts or fortresses around his kingdom, but the truth of the matter is, at present, boundless and bare, lone sand stretches far away. Nothing can be seen around. There is no sign of his achievements. There is no sign of his power. There is no sign of his glory. What remains now is nothing but sand. And where it stands, there is no trace of his kingdom, his achievements, his palaces, to a long distance. Nothing can be seen there. That means everything has gone away with the passage of time, right? So now we have finished the poem. Let us discuss its structure. Now it is a sonnet. This poem is a sonnet. सोनेट का मैंने सेपरेट भी एक वीडियो डाला हुआ है. इफ़ यू वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड सोनेट बेटर, आई विल गिव द लिंक. आई हैव गिवन द लिंक. आई विल गिव द लिंक इन द डिस्क्रिप्शन एंड यू कैन वॉच दैट सेपरेटली. ब्रीफली मैं यहाँ बता दूंगा सोनेट क्या होता है. इट इज़ डिराइव्ड फ्रॉम इटालियन वर्ड सोनिटो, विच मीन्स अ स्मॉल सॉन्ग और लिटिल सॉन्ग और स्मॉल लिरिक. और एक ये जो सोनेट है ये है पेट्रार्कन सोनेट. Petrarchan sonnet was the earliest form of sonnet which came into English poetry. तो ये फिलहाल आप इतना समझिए, it is a poem of 14 lines. इसलिए मैंने आपको दो डिवीजन दिखाए. फर्स्ट स्टेंजा 8 लाइन का, ओके, उसको बोलते हैं ऑक्टेव. दैट इज कॉल्ड एन ऑक्टेव, जो 8 लाइन का स्टेंजा पहला था. और जो लास्ट वाला स्टेंजा 6 लाइन्स का था, दैट इज कॉल्ड अ सेस्टेट. सो ये दो पार्ट होते हैं सोनेट के. हमारे इस सोनेट के भी दो पार्ट्स हैं. फर्स्ट 8 लाइन्स ऑक्टेव और लास्ट 6 लाइन्स सेस्टेट. इन द फर्स्ट 8 लाइन्स समथिंग इज एक्सप्लेन्ड. क्या एक्सप्लेन किया गया? एक ट्रेवलर केम फ्रॉम एन एंटीक लैंड, एंशिएंट लैंड. उसने बताया कि ही हैड सीन सम वास्ट ट्रंकलेस लेग्स ऑफ स्टोन एंड नियर देम देयर वाज अ face of the statue was lying half buried in the sand, and he saw some expressions of hatred, cruelty, arrogance, which were still there on that face. Okay, so then we are very curious to know about whose statue is it. So a comment is made in the last 6 lines. They give us the resolution of the problem or a comment on the previous stanza. So here we are told that it is the statue of King Ozymandias. So you can understand structurally it is a sonnet. Sonnet means a 14 line poem. और ये पेट्रार्कन सोनेट है. और पेट्रार्कन सोनेट, देयर आर 2 parts of the 2 stanzas in a पेट्रार्कन सोनेट, octave and sestet. Octave 8 lines which introduce a problem or which explain something, and then the sestet of the 6 lines which make a comment on the first 8. So इस तरह से. Now you can go through the summary also. It is a sonnet written by P.B. Shelley. Sonnet है तो मैंने बता दिया. I told you first 8 lines octave and last 6 lines are sestet. And first 8 lines they show the excessive pride of this king, his arrogance, his cruelty, his hatred, And the last 6 lines they explain how there is no sign of his achievements now. Then through this poem the poet wants to bring out the uselessness of pride. He quotes the example of King Ozymandias. So the poem begins something like an ancient traveler telling the poet about a huge half-broken statue that he had seen in the desert of Egypt. and it had two vast trunkless legs, and its face was lying buried in the sand. And then we come to know that it is a statue of King Ozymandias. How? Because it is written on the pedestal. Okay, and he was very proud of his achievements, power achievements, and maybe he might have built a grand city, and he got his statue installed there. And he describes him as the king of kings, and he boasted that nobody can match his achievements, equal my achievements. And but there is an irony now. There is no sign of his achievements. Okay, so the structures which he had built, uh, the palaces, the great forts, so nothing is there now. So its statue is also half broken and neglected, and no one is cares about this broken statue, and it is lying buried in the sand. So but everything uh, decays with the passage of time, but the negative qualities of anger, pride, arrogance, hatred, they can still be seen stamped on the face. So that the poet comments on the artistic mastery of the sculptor, कि ये उसकी बड़ी अच्छी कला थी उस स्कल्प्टर के अंदर, जिसने इन भावनाओं को बिल्कुल वैसे का वैसे ही उसके उस स्टैच्यू के ऊपर उतार दिया with great skill. So this is the entire point, and we can quickly go through some questions and answers. So what is ironic about the inscription on the pedestal of the Ozymandias statue? Ironic मतलब व्यंग्य जैसा क्या लगता है आपको कि जो स्टैच्यू पे लिखा हुआ है और जो एक्चुअल है? स्टैच्यू पे लिखा हुआ है आई एम किंग Ozymandias, आई एम द ग्रेटेस्ट ऑफ ऑल किंग्स. Okay, and he is challenging everyone. You cannot come and equal my achievements. He's very boastful, proud, and arrogant. But the irony is that nothing, there is no trace of his kingdom now. There is nothing, nothing can be seen around. There is only sand all around, and the statue itself is lying in a broken state. So that is the irony. Okay. Second question is, who does the shattered visage in the poem Ozymandias belong to, and why is it Hobson? So we get the answer in the second stanza. It is the visage of King Ozymandias. Okay. अभी ये टूटा फूटा पड़ा हुआ है क्योंकि समय टाइम हैज़ ravaged everything. Time does not spare anything. Everything decays with the process of time. So the power which he enjoyed at one time, there is no trace of this power and achievement now, right? So time is very powerful and it can destroy everything, right? So then why does Ozymandias refer to himself as king of kings? क्यों बोलता है? Because he was a very powerful king, maybe a mighty king, and he defeated many kings around his kingdom, and that is why he was very proud of his glory and power. So he thinks he is mightiest of all. And what is the ironic about the fate of Ozymandias? Now, the irony about his fate is, we have already answered this question, that though he boasts of being the king of kings or the mightiest of all, but the irony is that his own statue is lying in the dust. Okay, there is no one to care and not to fear, right? So though he had built his statue to immortalize his name, but everything is forgotten with the passing time. So even the great kings and queens of the yesteryears, so they are forgotten with the passage of time. People forget everything, right? So these are the questions you may go through, and the common theme or the most important theme is that time, is a great leveler, and time destroys everything with the passage of time. There is a decay, and so the poem highlights that the pride of human glory and power, it decays with time, and that's what the poet wants to convey. I hope you got an idea of this poem. uh, thank you very much. You may continue watching this series to get better insights.